Here's something most men will never admit. They have had conversations with women they were genuinely interested in, and somehow those conversations just died. Not because they said the wrong thing, not because they weren't good looking enough, not because they didn't have money or status. They died because something was missing emotionally, and nobody ever taught them what that something actually was. And that right there is the quiet frustration that follows millions of men every single day. Walking away from conversations that felt like nothing, wondering why the connection never sparked, wondering why she seemed interested for a second and then just drifted. If you have ever stood in that exact moment, replaying a conversation in your head, asking yourself where it went wrong, stay with me. Because what I am about to share is going to rewire the way you think about attraction completely. I am Emily Carter, and this is The Female Game, the channel where we go deep into the real psychology behind attraction, connection, and what women actually respond to emotionally. Not surface-level tips, not recycled pickup artist nonsense. Real psychology, real patterns, real results. If that is what you are here for, make sure you hit subscribe right now, because every single video on this channel is designed to give you an edge most men spend years searching for and never find. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a guy, maybe not the tallest, not the richest, not the best-looking guy in the room, and somehow he was the one she could not stop talking to? Her body language was completely different. She was leaning in, she was laughing, she was engaged in a way that felt almost magnetic. And you stood there thinking, what does he have that I do not? The answer is not what you think. It is not confidence in the way most people define it. It is not charm in the Hollywood sense. It is something far more specific, far more learnable, and far more powerful. And it lives entirely inside the emotional experience he creates through his words. See, attraction is not a visual experience as much as people believe it is. Attraction is an emotional experience. An emotion is triggered by language. The right phrase, delivered at the right moment, in the right emotional tone, does not just start a conversation. It changes the entire psychological atmosphere of that interaction. Women do not fall for men because of what those men say. They fall because of how those men make them feel while saying it. That distinction is everything. The first phrase taps into one of the most primal forces in the human brain: curiosity. And I want you to understand something about curiosity that most people completely overlook. Curiosity is not just a feeling. It is a neurological drive. When the brain senses an incomplete thought, a story that was almost finished but not quite, a sentence that started and then stopped, it literally cannot rest until it finds closure. It becomes obsessed. This is the same reason you stay up until 2 a.m. watching a series, even though you have work in the morning. Your brain is chasing an open loop. Now imagine harnessing that exact mechanism inside a real conversation. Here is how it works in practice. She shares something about herself, a memory, a passion, a little story about her life. Instead of responding with a comment or a question like every other man she has ever spoken to, you pause, look at her with just a hint of recognition and say, "You actually remind me of someone." Then you let that land for a second, and then almost casually you say, "Actually, never mind, I will tell you later." And you move on. That is it. That is the whole phrase. And what happens next is fascinating. Her brain is now running in the background on that unfinished thought. Who did he mean? Was it a compliment? What did he notice? The key, and this is critical, is that when she eventually asks, because she will ask, you do not reveal something about her appearance. You reveal something about her character, something specific, something you actually noticed. Something like, "You reminded me of someone I know who has this rare way of making every person they talk to feel like the most important person in the room. I noticed you doing that earlier." That moment is not just a compliment. That moment is emotional recognition. And emotional recognition is one of the deepest psychological triggers of attraction that exists in human connection. She has probably heard 100 men tell her she is beautiful. She has never had a man tell her he saw who she actually is. Now let's get into the second phrase. And this one is where most men absolutely get it wrong, even the ones who think they understand compliments. Here is the brutal truth. Generic compliments are emotionally worthless to attractive women, not because women are cold or ungrateful, but because those compliments have lost all meaning through sheer repetition. "You're gorgeous. You have incredible eyes. You're stunning." She has heard every single variation of those sentences hundreds of times from men she was interested in and men she was not, and after enough repetition, the brain stops registering them as meaningful. They become background noise. They feel transactional, like the entry-level thing every man says to get something. But a compliment rooted in specific, genuine observation, that is a completely different psychological experience. When you say something like, "The way you tell a story is genuinely rare," most people just give you the facts. You give it emotion. Something shifts in her nervous system. Because that compliment required attention, it required you to actually listen. And the fact that you listened communicates something far more attractive than any physical observation ever could. It communicates emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is one of the most universally attractive qualities a human being can possess. Go even deeper and the impact multiplies. If you notice the way she treats a stranger kindly, the way she includes someone quieter in the group conversation, the way she pauses before answering because she is actually thinking, and you acknowledge it, you have done something almost no man has ever done for her. You have made her feel seen, not just looked at, seen. And feeling seen is addictive. The brain creates a powerful emotional association between that feeling and the person who created it. That association is the quiet beginning of real attraction. Before we get into the third phrase, which is honestly the one that changes the entire dynamic of how a conversation flows, I want to ask you something. Which of these two men would you rather be? The man who tries hard to impress and always feels like he is performing, or the man who is simply present, genuinely engaged, and leaves every conversation with her wanting more? If your answer is the second one, subscribe to this channel right now because that is exactly the kind of man we are building here on The Female Game. Hit that subscribe button. This content is free, but the value is not cheap. All right, the third phrase. And this one is subtle but devastating in the best possible way. It is called the playful reversal. And it works because it does something no other conversational move does. It completely breaks the interview pattern. Think about how most conversations between a man and a woman go. She asks a question. He answers. She asks another question. He answers again. Back and forth, mechanical, predictable, gradually losing energy until one of them finds a polite reason to end it. The playful reversal destroys that pattern in a single moment. Here is how it works. She asks you something personal. Something like, "So, what do you do for fun?" Or, "What made you choose that career?" And instead of immediately answering, you smile slightly, hold a brief, comfortable pause, and say, "Honestly, I'm more curious what you think. What's your read on me so far?" Watch what happens, because what happens is genuinely fascinating from a psychology standpoint. She is no longer just asking questions. She is now actively building a picture of who you are in her mind. She starts observing you more carefully. She starts revealing her own assumptions and values through the way she guesses. She becomes emotionally invested in the conversation in a way that was not possible when she was just waiting for your answer. And that investment? That is attraction beginning to grow. The conversation goes from something happening at her to something she is participating in creating. That collaborative energy is magnetic. Just remember, do not overuse this. Once, maybe twice in a conversation, deployed with warmth and a genuine smile, it is powerful. Overuse it and it becomes evasive. Balance is everything. Here is what I want you to take away from everything we have covered today. Attraction is not a performance. It is not a trick. It is an emotional atmosphere that you either create or you do not. The curiosity phrase creates a gentle, irresistible tension that makes her brain lean toward you. The observation compliment creates emotional recognition that makes her feel genuinely seen for the first time. The playful reversal creates collaborative energy that transforms a flat exchange into something alive and real. Individually, each one shifts the energy subtly. Together, they change the entire psychological experience of talking to you. But here is the part that matters most. None of this works without authenticity underneath it. These are not masks. They are not scripts to memorize and recite robotically. They are frameworks for expressing a version of yourself that is more present, more aware, more emotionally intelligent. The technique opens the door. Your real character is what keeps it open. So this week, do not try to use all three at once. Pick one. Use it naturally in a real conversation. Pay attention to what shifts. Does the energy change? Does she lean in slightly more? Does the conversation last longer than usual? Reflect on it. That reflection is how social mastery actually develops, not from theory alone, but from application followed by honest awareness. If today's video gave you even one thing that changes how you show up in your next conversation, do me a favor. Like this video, drop a comment telling me which of the three phrases resonates with you most, and subscribe to The Female Game so you never miss a conversation like this one. This channel exists for men who want to understand women on a deeper level, not manipulate them, not run game on them, but genuinely connect with them in a way that feels real and lasting. That is the mission here, and I am grateful you are part of it. I will see you in the next one. And remember this, when presence replaces performance, people feel it immediately. And that feeling is exactly what draws them closer.